Welcome, UCL fans. The regular season is now over. It's time for the playoffs, and we're here to take a look at the teams that made it into the playoffs and give an analysis on the 4 teams that have actually made it. I am Nintendo Fanatic 64. I've watched every single match throughout the UCL season. I've crunched the numbers. I've looked at the teams, and which you will see soon. And we're going to just go ahead and give you my best guess at what teams will be brought, as well as the predictions on who will win. Now, I am in no way affiliated with the UCL or any of the coaches involved. If any of them are watching and approve of this, let me know, leave it a like, tell me what you think below, and then we're going to try and plead a case for the UCL for next season to try and make me become like the official analysis and news reporter for them. I don't know if it'll happen. It's all for fun anyway for me. Now, if you did not see, it was announced on the UCL Twitter, the final matchups for this playoff. We're going to have the Newcastle Nido-Kings and the Bronx Bearticks going against each other, as well as the New York Yankees and the St. Louis Rampardos. Those are, of course, the 4 teams that made it into the playoffs, so we're going to take a look at it. On an interesting side note, these are actually the exact same matches, with Newcastle taking on the Bronx Bearticks, the New York Yankees taking on the St. Louis Rampardos. These matches all happened in week 2 of the UCL, so it will be very interesting to see how far these teams have come and what they've learned over the course of this regular season. So we're going to start by taking a look at the Bronx Bearticks and the Newcastle Nido-Kings. So, as you can see, I have their draft orders off to the sides here for it, and I'm just gonna go over them. With next to their names is their kill to death ratio, basically, as well as the number of battles that they attended during regular season for it. So we'll go ahead and start off with the Newcastle Nido-Kings. He has the Venusaur, which is his Mega, Slowbro, Staraptor, Arcanine, Nidoqueen, Haxorus, Scrafty, Sigalith, Magneton, Lilligant, who was traded away for Xatu after week 4, Mismagius, and Armaldo. And then we'll take a look on the Bronx Bearticks side, who has Manaphy, Tornadus, Therian, Weavile, Ampharos, which is their Mega, Reuniclus, Cobalion, Amoonguss, Asselgor, or Selgor, however you want to pronounce it, Dugtrio, Rhydon, Claydol, Audino. Now, it's very different seeing both teams, because there are only, when you look on the Bronx Beartick side, he has 3 mons that he brought more than, we have 4 different mons that he's brought with him in at least 10 different battles with Manaphy, Tornadus T, the Weavile, and the Reuniclus. And on the Newcastle side, he has only 3 mons that he's brought with him more than 10 times, or 10 or more times, with Venusaur, Slowbro, and Staraptor, all of his OU picks. Very similar to the Bronx Bearticks, who just brought their Reuniclus a few more times than any of their other mons out there. Also interesting to know, for the Newcastle Nido-Kings over here, the Sigalith has never once been brought to a battle, so that could all change this weekend. Sigalith is a pretty decent mon, and it was kind of shocking that they were one of the few teams that didn't use all 12 of the Pokemon that at their access to bring to the teams. Now, like I said, these teams, of course, all these teams have met once before during regular season, because that was how this league was set up, where everyone fought everyone once, and it was just whoever had the best record, and if it came down to any ties, it would have been who beat who during regular season for it. So, with the Bronx Bearticks, they won the last time these 2 teams did meet. The team that was brought then was Reuniclus, Manaphy, Rhydon, Selgor, Dugtrio, and the Tornadus T. MVP during the match was Reuniclus, who managed to get 4 knockouts during that time. On the Newcastle Nido-King side, he brought Mega Venusaur, Armaldo, Slowbro, Staraptor, Arcanine, and Magneton. Reuniclus recently they got 4 knockouts. It managed to knock out the Venusaur, the Slowbro, the Staraptor, and the Magneton. Other knockouts from the Bronx Bearticks came from Manaphy, who managed to knock out Armaldo, as well as the Tornadus T, who managed to take out the... No, not the Tornadus T. I'm sorry, I'm mixing it up. Who took out the other one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see. Manaphy... Rhydon, that's who it was. Rhydon managed to get a knockout. Sorry, I'm going over my notes, and it was early on, so I had bad note-taking then for it. But it is fairly accurate. Was the Rhydon who took out the Arcanine in that week. Newcastle Needle Kings did manage to have 3 knockouts during that time frame, with the Venusaur taking out the Tornadus T, the Slowbro taking out the Rhydon, and the Magneton taking out the took out the Manaphy. Now, during that match as well, it was a 2-0 victory because Asselgore knocked itself out with Final Gambit after setting up a layer of spikes, and helped lower down the Armaldo for the Manaphy to come in and take it out. So, will these teams be the same? I highly doubt that they'll be exactly the same, but I'd imagine they will bring a lot of similar mons. I do believe Newcastle will probably bring the Venusaur and the Slowbro, because they were, of course, brought more times than any other mon on the entire team. I do believe we will see probably the Armaldo there, because it is a great hazard control, because it can set up the spikes or the Stealth Rocks at least, as well as spin them away. I would not be surprised. Haxorus being one of the best mons that they had, with only being knocked out twice and had 15 kills, was a good sweeper for them, so I could see them bringing the Haxorus this time. And then for the final 2 mon, it's really hard to say. I could see it go Staraptor and Arcanine to round out the team, just to try and get, some good speedy mons to hit hard and hit fast and get out of there. But it's hard to say. I mean, I'm seeing almost basically the exact same team, except remove the Magneton and replace it with the Haxorus. So that's where I see for the Newcastle Needle Kings. On the Bronx Beartick side, I definitely see Reuniclus coming back again, because it did so well last time these two teams fought. Manaphy, definitely could see that one coming again, just because it was brought the most out of all the Pokemon on the team. The Tornadus T and the Weavile, would not be surprised to see either of them. Dugtrio, even though it may not have had a lot of kills during the season, it was good for trapping certain mons, so he might bring it to, do a similar type situation, lead with an Asselgore, set up a layer spikes, Final Gambit, and then trap it using Dugtrio or something, just to try and get it, out of the way. Could bring Claydol this time. Claydol was only brought once, was used as a decent wall. But, I mean, it's really hard to say. I could definitely almost see him bringing out almost the exact same team, but maybe replace the Rhydon with the Weavile, because Weavile could definitely do a lot of work to this team. But, again, we don't know. We're just making guesses here. Outcome, depending on the team brought, I think it's a good safe bet that the Bronx Bearticks will be able to take on the Newcastle Needle Kings and get another win from them. So that's my prediction for those two teams. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the second set of teams, which is the St. Louis Rampardos taking on the New York Yankees. Now, this is kind of a rivalry that spans all the way from a different league, because of course these two teams have battled in the UCL. Every time they battled, St. Louis defeated the Yankees. When they battled here this season of the UCL, they battled GBA before. This season was no different. The St. Louis Rampardos defeated the Yankees in week 2 once again. So, will we have a similar outcome? It is hard to say. We'll start by taking a look at the draft picks from the New York Yankees over here. We have the Landorus, Therian, Mew, Megapincer, Milotic, Infernape, Blissey, Jolteon, Stuntank, Shiftry, Granbull, Girder, and Reggie Rock. On the St. Louis Rampardo side, the the Mega Metagross, Raikou, Conkeldurr, Hydreigon, Crobat, Vaporeon, Aromatisse, Tangrowth, Omastar, Golurk, Kecleon, and Mesprit. Now, also, it has been mentioned next season of the UCL, Mega Metagross will not be allowed as one of the megas for it. It was just too good. As you can see, the coach of the St. Louis Rampardos, A Drive, brought Metagross all 15 weeks. And with 30 kills and only been knocked out 9 times, you can probably understand why they have decided, all the coaches in the UCL have come together and said, we're not going to have Mega Metagross next season, whenever that may take place. But either way, if you look through the teams, let's start with the St. Louis Rampardos. Mega Metagross is a definite for this, matchup. He's bringing it no matter what. He hasn't not brought it. If he wanted to throw his opponents off guard, then he would not bring it, but it just hits so hard and is so strong that it just would be unwise to not bring it. I don't foresee, a lot of his lower end mons, the Mesprit, the Kecleon, the Golurk, the Aromatisse to not be there. Omastar was starting to do a lot of good in the later half of the season, so we could potentially see that coming. Tangrowth, maybe not as much. Vaporeon, that would be the one that I would, he might not bring, just because when you look at the New York Yankees side, one of their most brought mons, and I think it was brought more than any other RU mon this season from all the teams, was Jolteon, and it managed to average 1 kill per match, but it didn't get kills every single match. I think there was even a couple times it wasn't even really used during the times it was brought, but the Jolteon could easily take on a Vaporeon and win, in my opinion, for it. So I don't foresee him bringing that with him, but you never know. I could see the Mega Metagross might bring the Raikou as an answer for Jolteon. Well, let's take a look. We'll take a look at what they brought in their previous matchup and go from there. So, of course, the match went to the St. Louis Rampardos. It was a very close match, as it was only a 1-0 victory. Brought the Mega Metagross, the Conkeldurr, the Raikou, the Hydreigon, the Vaporeon, and the Mesprit. The New York Yankees brought Granbull, Jolteon, Milotic, Infernape, Mew, and Shiftry. Now, during the matchup, we had the Metagross with 1 knockout, who took out the Mew. There was Conkeldurr, who was the MVP of the match, took out 3 mons. The Conkeldurr took out the Shiftry, the Infernape, and the Milotic. And then we had Hydreigon, who managed to also take out the Granbull and the Jolteon. So that was all the knockouts that they had. New York Yankees, they had a lot of knockouts as well. They brought the Jolteon that took out the Mega Metagross and the Conkeldurr. There was Infernape that took out the Raikou. Mew took out the Vaporeon due to Stealth Rock usage. So it was probably knocked it out after. Yeah, Mew had managed to knock out Vaporeon with the Stealth Rocks after the fact on it. And then Shiftry, that actually was the one that took out the Mesprit for it. So those are who they brought with it. That was the one and only time the New York Yankees brought Shiftry. I don't think they'll bring Shiftry again this season. I think he'll probably bring the Landorus T, because that's one of his most valuable mons, managing to get 11 knockouts in 12 battles, not too bad. The Mega Pinsir, I think we'll probably see Mega Pinsir come to this match. 13 kills this season's not too bad. Infernape, the most kills on his team was 16. Definitely would not be surprised. Jolteon, I could see Jolteon definitely coming to it. As far as the remaining 2 mons that he could potentially bring, I would not be surprised if he brings Mew. He could potentially bring Milotic, could bring Blissey. I mean, if we look at it, if he brought Landorus, Pinsir, Infernape, and Jolteon, that's all out attackers and not really much of any type of wall with it. So, excuse me, probably could bring. I could see my Milotic coming to this match just due to the fact that he'll need some type of a wall, and then if he also wants an extra wall, he could bring Blissey. If you remember in the Week 15 matchup when St. Louis took on the Tucson Terrakions, they brought a Chansey that actually took out the Mega Metagross. Now, that was, of course, due to Metagross missing 2 hammer arms and Chansey just being able to knock it out with a couple seismic tosses. So, I would not be surprised to see Blissey make its appearance here. Could do some hard work for them, but we don't know. We'll have to wait and see. As far as who's going to win, I'll give the slight edge to the St. Louis Rampardos just due to the fact that they do have, with the Mega Metagross, which, like we said, will be banned for Season 2 and on, with 30 knockouts, it just hits hard. I can see the Mega Metagross coming, Hydreigon probably coming, Conkeldurr, maybe the Raikou. If he brings Raikou, he's definitely going to bring Vaporeon, because that's going to be his answer to the Jolteon. As far as the last mon goes, if the New York Yankees bring Mega Pinsir, then he'll have no way. Then he'll probably want to bring somebody who can set up rocks. So potentially Golurk, which also works as like a spin blocker. The Omastar also to set up some hazard control, so it's really hard to say. If New York brings the team that I mentioned, they would have no way to remove hazards, unfortunately. Unless, of course, he brings like a Mew that can defog as well. So, Shiftry also can defog. So it's really hard to say. I don't foresee any of the NU Mons, at least on the New York Mankey side, making an appearance. For RU, I could definitely see Jolteon coming, and like I said, the rest it's all going to be up to, of course, the coach Shady Penguin. It's going to be too close as it was the last time, since, like I said, it came down to a 1-0 with Hydreigon being the only remaining Mon at the end of it. So, again, we don't know how it's going to go down. I predict St. Louis just because the fact that they went as well 14-1 in the season. If you've actually, I think he did a look up on it during regular season play in all competitive battles that they have done. The St. Louis Rampardos are about like 23-2 during regular season. So that includes last season of the GBA and, of course, this season of the UCL. Because, of course, in the GBA, where they made it all the way to the finals, he went 9-1. This season in the UCL, he went 14-1. It is not an easy team to beat, and the team that ended up beating the St. Louis Rampardos were the Long Island Reggie Rockies, and it was an amazing match for it. St. Louis Rampardos, of course, are also on a heavy win streak. They've won the last 12 matches in a row. I don't know if New York has what it takes to take it down, but we'll have to wait and see this weekend. So those are the teams. Those are the matchups. Like I said, I think it's going to come down to in the final matchup. I think it will be the St. Louis Rampardos and the Bronx Beartics. New York is a really great team, so, I mean, they could potentially pull a win out of it and finally beat the St. Louis Rampardos. For the Newcastle Needle-Kings, I will admit, when the season started, that after this second week, when they lost to the Bronx Beartics, I didn't think they would go as far as they did. But then, after week 2, they went on a 10-game winning streak and actually managed to make it into the playoffs. Now, I don't know how strong the battling style is of Patters from the Newcastle Needle-Kings. He's definitely, if you've watched his side of the battles, he's very entertaining to watch during it. I don't know if he's, going to be on a competitive thing, but of course, this entire, UCL is not meant to be ultra competitive. It's a bunch of PokeTubers getting together and having fun, and that's what this has come down to for it. But He's going up against the Bronx Bear Ticks, who, with Joey Pokey MD, probably one of the best strategists in the entire UCL, which is why he went the first like 5 or 6 weeks being undefeated as well, up until he took on the New York Yankees. So that's why all these matches are hard to predict, because these teams are just have gotten so good over the last 15 weeks. So who's going to win? Your guess will be as good as mine. Let me know down in the comment section between these two matchups: Newcastle Navy Kings, Bronx Bear Ticks, New York Yankees, St. Louis Rampardos. Who's going to win and make it into the championship match, which will be the following week? And then let me know as well who you expect to win of these two teams, and who do you expect to become the champion of the first season of the UCL. So that's going to go ahead and wrap up my playoff analysis video for today. Next week, I'll be back on Tuesday going over the matchups. I'll probably go into it with a little bit more detail than I normally do with my, reviews and rankings, just because there aren't going to be any rankings because it's only the playoffs, and we'll talk about who each team brought and how it all went down. So, and then by next Thursday, I'll probably do my top 10 or top 20 Mons of the UCL Season 1. So thank you all very much for watching. If you did enjoy, leave it a thumbs up. And like I said, let me know down below who your predictions are to win in the playoffs, and even who's going to go on and win the championships. Thank you very much, and y'all have yourselves a wonderful day. Take care, and good night.